Welcome to Cannes in the south of France and welcome on board Freaky Frank's, a Sunseeker 101 sport yacht. So much to tell you about this boat. First of all, I have to say that every single year this yacht goes for a winter service period, has the hull polished, everything serviced, everything prepared. And this year they've taken it out of that period a little bit earlier just for me so that I can get on board and film before I leave for the United States in a couple of days' time. I say that because the sea conditions aren't perfect today. The yacht does have zero speed stabilizers. It works very, very well indeed, but you will see a little bit of movement because of the sea conditions. Let me start though, first of all, by talking about the stern of this yacht. Because that huge platform that you can see there has been provided by Sunseeker to actually emerge underwater. It's a fantastic feature, a great way of getting into the sea and swimming on a warmer day than this. And then that allows space for the aft garage to open up. And on this yacht, there's space for a Williams 445 jet tender, along with a host of other water toys such as sea bobs, a jellyfish swimming pool, lots of other things like that. I should say, when you do buy a yacht, don't always take it for granted that you'll get all of those toys with the yacht. That's not always the case, but I'm just telling you what there's space in there for. As you can see, really big sunbathing area here. Lovely seating area as well, but the devil is in the details on this yacht. Let me show you an example of what I mean, and this particular example speaks volumes about the current owner. Now, all production yachts that are built from composite material, effectively from fiberglass, are built from a variety of molds. And on every other Sunseeker 101 sports yacht, you'll see Sikaflex joints along here where the molds meet. This owner has such attention to detail. He actually paid to have this resined over and finished so you absolutely cannot see any of the joins. As we look around, you'll see a few more details like that as well, but let's take a look at the bow area. Now, sometimes on the bow of yachts, even of this size, they'll put a seating area, but it's almost an afterthought. It's almost like the yacht designer has said, well, we may as well do something with that space. We may as well put some seats there. Not the case with Freaky Frank's. This is a huge area and must be lovely to sit here in the summer and eat or just watch the world go by. There's cup holders here. There's also a little fixture so that you can put an umbrella for a little bit of shade. These lockers that you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 big lockers so that you can put the lines in there and other large items. Keep all of this nice and clean. Let's move back down here and have a look at the fly bridge, what Sunseeker call a sports fly. Actually, I read about the Sunseeker 101 sports yacht before I came here this morning to film, and one of the points that a lot of the articles written about the yacht made was the flexibility of Sunseeker in adapting to the owner's requirements. Again, that's something we'll pick up on in a moment when we look at the interiors. But here it was clear that the owner just wanted a nice open space here so that you could put perhaps loose furnishings if you want to. It's a very simple layout. You could put a lot of people up here if you want to party on board, and I can't help thinking this is a great party yacht. You have a really nice helm station here, very, very stylish. The captain was telling me that the engine throttles here, the engine controls were actually replaced quite recently, so they look lovely, brand new on board. We'll be looking at some of the controls on the main helm station a little bit later, so we won't cover them here. But with that, let's take a look inside the yacht. Actually, before we do go inside, let me point this out to you because it's another custom feature of this yacht. A lovely bar area, and then over here we have a fridge and an ice maker. A very good friend of mine is the captain of a yacht of a similar size to this, and he's overseen the construction of many, many yachts of this size. And he always makes the point that you need to have plenty of fridges and ice makers throughout the yacht. And that's not so much so that you can get more beer and more wine on board. It's more for the convenience that you never want to be that far. If the stewardess comes here and the owner or his guests just want a cold beer, far better to just say, here you are, sir, than having to go all the way down to the galley or somewhere else on the boat to get it. And again, you'll see as we look around the yacht that this has been so well thought out and spec'd throughout. Let's take a look inside. And this is classic Sunseeker, this beautiful warm colours, dark wooden floor. I believe this is American cherry wood, this incredibly large marble top here with a television set that raises and lowers when you need it. Now this is actually hiding access to the crew areas, and we'll be looking at the crew areas a little bit later in the video, but it's packed full of useful features. You have under here a sink. You have glass storage. Again, you have another fridge. This is actually concealing a dumb waiter down from the galley. When we look at the crew quarters in a moment, you'll see it's really quite a tight stairway down there. It's not always easy to perhaps have a tray coming up. So useful feature to be able to have a food lift on the yacht too. Lovely, comfortable seating area. Great place to be able to sit back and watch that large television from. And of course, an inside dining area. I think if I was using the yacht on a day like today, which is beautifully sunny but not all that hot, I'd certainly want to be eating in here with my friends rather than outside, which is what you do, of course, in the summer. Moving up here, we have the helm station, and there's some really fascinating features that I want to show you here. These 4 screens are all interchangeable. They all do exactly the same thing. With the GPS charts, you've got the depth sounder, the radar, you've got the engine controls as well. And you can basically move those around however it suits you as a captain. But this was a particular feature that I was watching when we were underway earlier, because this particular yacht has been built with technology that you would normally find on much larger yachts. And one of those pieces of technology is called a fuel polishing system. And you can actually see the fuel lines here going from the main fuel tank through the filters and then to the day tank. So you can actually see how much fuel you've got left. At the moment, I know that of a capacity of 11,800 litres on the main tank, I've got around about 10,000 left. And on my day tank of a capacity of 1,665, I have round about 1,400 litres left. But the interesting thing is that every yacht has fuel filters. You have to have clean fuel on your yacht. The filters usually used are called racors, but then after the fuel on this yacht has passed through the racor, it then gets through an even more refined fuel system before it actually reaches that day tank. And you can follow that and make sure it's all working correctly on this screen here. I mentioned as well that we do have 0-speed stabilizers. These are the controls over here. Unusually on this yacht, those stabilizers are fins rather than gyroscopic stabilizers. The fins are very large, very, very powerful, and as well as keeping the yacht stabilized when it's underway, they actually pivot and move when the yacht's at anchor as well. Again, I have to say we have an exceptional swell today. It's sometimes difficult to recognize that from what you can see on the video, but it's a considerable swell. And it's interesting that there's been a few moments where the yacht rocked and then found its stability very, very quickly. It does reduce roll considerably, but there is no stabilizer that can completely eliminate roll. Let's go down now and take a look at the accommodations. I mentioned to you that Sunseeker prided themselves on the way that they will accept owners' requests for modifications, and this is a great example because what normally would be one twin cabin here has been opened up so that through here you have really quite a small cabin, which I would suggest is probably for children. And that is so that the owner and his guests can benefit from a personal fitness area. And you know yourself that if you have a particular schedule and regime that you try to do every day for your personal fitness, you really don't want to break that up if necessary, even on your vacation. So this has been fitted here for that purpose. Through here we have, I hesitate to call it a day head. It is a day head, but it's much, much bigger than that. It's really a large bathroom area with a big shower that serves not just the guests who are not staying on board, but also by virtue of another door through this side, it serves as the bathroom to this twin stateroom. Further forward, we have the VIP cabin, and we have an Estonian refugee who's trying to... And this is a very nicely appointed cabin indeed. Again, you've got this beautiful, rich American cherry wood, very nicely decorated. Through here, it's a surprisingly large walk-in wardrobe. You have a good television set. And actually, I should mention as well that the whole yacht has a great AV system. One of the things with a lot of yachts, and some of my viewers I know own yachts or have chartered yachts or have been on friends' yachts, and it can be so frustrating how complicated these AV systems can be. I've heard so many people say that they get down to the cabin and then can't turn on the television set and need to ask one of the crew members. Not the case with this yacht. It's a nice, simple, functional system that even I could operate without having to ask the captain about. As you would imagine, once again, a very nice luxury ensuite bathroom with a good sized shower. But where does the owner sleep? Let's take a look. And this is what Sunseeker are so good at, and much of the reason for them being such a successful shipyard. An absolutely palatial owner's stateroom. It's full beam, it has this beautiful seating area here. I noticed as well that part of that window can actually be opened so you can get some fresh air if you want the fresh air. It's so important to many, many people. You have a really good sized ensuite bathroom through here. You have a really large walk-in wardrobe through here. Beauty table here, of course, where you can put your makeup on or just sit with your computer and enjoy the view. Obviously, these blinds come up to reveal a beautiful view, depending on where you are, of course, but I'm sure you'd be going to beautiful places with this yacht. Going to beautiful places and eating wonderful things from the fantastic galley. Let's take a look at the galley and the crew quarters. Now, Sunseeker really have made the most of the space available here. I've never seen a layout quite like this, and the best way I can explain it to you is by putting a copy of the layout of the yacht on screen. You have 1, 2, 3 crew cabins, 1, 2 bathrooms as well, and then in the middle you have this galley area, which is really beautifully appointed. This is a lovely granite surface, Miele equipment. You have Miele washer, Miele dryer as well. Really large fridge and freezer here too. And of course, from here, you have access to the engine room. But just one thing I wanted to point out as well is that while the crew are down here, it's very good that they also have these screens here showing the engine parameters, the CCTV, so that if something does go wrong, they immediately know about it and can react. The engine room is just through here. Now, this yacht was built with 2 MTU 2000 series engines. We were traveling earlier at about 24 knots and it was consuming 600 litres an hour. Now remember that your fuel tank is about 13,500 litres, so that will give you an idea of the range at that speed of 24 knots. Of course, when you slow down, that dramatically reduces, so it's really up to the owner and the captain to discuss between themselves how far they want to go and what sort of economy they want to achieve with that as well. Well, Freaky Frank's is now available for sale, and there's so much about this yacht that I think really recommends it for viewing. The fact that the owner has taken such a big interest in little details like removing those Sikaflex joints, for example. The captain tells me that he has always paid for whatever maintenance needs being done. As a matter of fact, items such as that big swim platform, for example, that need regularly servicing, he's already paid for that to be done, even though it will be serviced in probably a couple of months' time, because he's always aware of the need to keep the yacht in absolute top condition. That for me is almost as important, if not as important, as the yacht itself and whether you like it. To know that it's had a loving owner who's put the right money into the yacht means that you won't be wasting your time to come and look at it. I am not the man that you need to talk to for an appointment to view. That is my friend and colleague, Sebastian Clave, who is an absolute expert in this kind of sports yacht. His contact details are on screen. Don't hesitate to get in contact with him.